Well, good evening and welcome to It Is Time for the Main Street Sports Standout Show as we end up crossing over from the fast break. And Ray Halbrook here from Livestream STL. Hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. We have a great show in store here as we I'm in a little different spot here. I'm at the kiddie table here. So the big table over here is the big guys here. All of the here's Drake.
Are we sure this isn't the kiddie table?
That could be the kiddie table too. Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, the kiddie table here. Me going on here. But got a good group here tonight. Here we've got Jeff Whitener there, all the way to the left. We've got Drake Beekman there next to him. We've got Scott Lotta next to him, and Brian Kaplinger. We are going to go through this amazing amount of group of lists and whatnot. And our lists are a little bit different than most lists, so we don't want to shoot the messenger here too much. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say Jeff Whitener is behind all this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So, but no, should be a fun one here. And, without further ado, I'm going to bring this right straight over to Jeff. And Jeff, are you going to get this thing started?
Thank you, Ray. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about how our Main Street Sports Standout list and our selection comes to be. And let's get this boilerplate right out of the way so we can get right into the nominees. Our standouts are nominated and voted by members of local media in Jefferson County. Collectively, we saw over 75 games this winter. Now, no all-star list is perfect, and this one will be debated like every other one. This list is based solely on our opinions from watching the athletes play, as well as season statistics. This list includes JCAA large and small schools only. It would be unfair to add any suburban conference players as we seldom saw them play. We choose 8 teams, a first and second boys and girls JCAA large schools, and a first and second team boys and girls JCAA small schools. We choose one MVP from all 4 categories. We choose players on this list regardless of position or grade level. You could have 5 guards on one team, and they could all be freshmen. You never know. We make a point of not naming any co-MVPs. We fight it out until we come up with a single MVP in each category. Each voter submits their personal picks, ballots are tallied, reviewed, and unanimous choices automatically make the team. Then we then go by majority vote for the rest of the players. We know that some good athletes did not make this list. It's not our intent to slight anyone or upset any local schools. This is simply our way to recognize who we thought were the best performers throughout the season and have some fun. And finally, this list of players is biased, as we all have biases, as most postseason accolades are. There you have it, Ray. That's all the mouthful out of the way.
Hey, it's really interesting that do we have bias? Yes, we have bias. Why not? Why wouldn't we have bias? And it's good to have the bias. For years and years and years, we used to always just kind of take the best of the best, and anytime we had any problems, Ray would be the end all be all. But this year, this particular year, has not been the case. So, and I feel like all the burden's off me now. So that's a good thing. So, all right. Without further ado, we are going to start here with this JCAA small girls first team standouts, and we are going to get things rolling here. Our very first standout here. This is Addison Bova, who is a freshman. Now, I want to make sure this is this first team or second team?
First team girls.
Okay, first team small school girls here, Addison Bova. And Jeff, your thoughts on this? We're just going to go right on down the road.
Yeah, let's go through the accolades here for the freshmen, and the only freshman on our 40-man roster here. First team all-conference, all-district player. She was among the Metro leaders in scoring with 15 points per game. She was among the Metro area leaders in free throw percentage with 71.4, among the leaders in assists with 3.3 per game. She led the Hornets in scoring, 3-point scoring, free throw percentage, and assist. She led the Hornets in steals. This is her first selection as a freshman, obviously, to this team. And Addison Bova, as a freshman, was a unanimous selection to the Main Street Sports Standout team. And I tell you what, guys, I was so impressed with the games that I saw her play this year. She did not play like a freshman at all. Very, very good athlete. No fear. That was the thing that stood out to me. No fear to handle the ball, to bring the ball up the court. And she wanted the ball in pressure situations.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for me, I wasn't really able to get a whole lot of eyes on the girls' side of the high school basketball this year. One thing that I got on my piece of paper here that you didn't mention, Jeff, was she averaged 4 rebounds a game too. So it's not like she, lit it up on the points, but kind of was a little bit lackluster in other areas. I mean, we're talking about an all-around player, Crystal City alum. Right here, so I'm not going to complain about a Hornet being on the list, especially as a freshman too. Everything that you said, Jeff, it's awesome to see, and the fact that we get to see her for 3 more years is just awesome.
So we talked about the Crystal City program, and where they came from last year to where they came from this year. You had a first-year coach and a freshman step up. I mean, obviously they took the next step, and she was a key component in that, and very bright future over at Crystal City.
Yeah, I mean, completely kind of going back to what you said, Jeff, I think the thing that stood out to me most was just her poise on the court. Even as a freshman, you could tell she was ready for that leadership role. She wanted the ball in her hand in clutch moments. She wasn't scared to attack seniors and juniors on the floor, which speaks to, like you said, Drake, 3 years of promise more for this young lady. And the Crystal City Hornets should be excited about this program and what they're doing. As you said, Scott, first year, kind of really turning the page and getting back to some standouts. I wouldn't be surprised if they really turn things around and fight for this conference title here, especially with Bova leading the way.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at our next standout here, Catherine Wakeland from the Grandview Eagles. Jeffrey?
We go from the freshman to the seasoned veteran for the Grandview Eagles, a 4-year starter for the Eagles. First team all-conference, all-district, metro area leader in scoring, 17 points per game, an area leader in free throw percentage, a metro area leader in steals. She led the Eagles in three-point scoring. She led the Eagles in block shots. This is her 3rd straight selection to this team, and Catherine Wakeland was a unanimous selection to the Main Street Standouts team. And Ray, you and I have had a chance to watch her play over these last 4 years and watch what she can do with the ball. She's gotten better every year, highly intelligent on the court. And the only thing I want to say about that is we look at that banner behind you, Ray, is Catherine Wakeland would look wonderful in red and navy.
How about that?
And that's all I'll say.
There you go.
I can't really add much to that there, Jeff. That'd be pretty sweet to see her in the Vikings uniform going forward. And I mean, like you said, you got to actually see her in person. The quarterback almost, just the intelligence on the court, let alone all of the numbers that you'd seen on screen right there. I mean, they all speak for themselves, really.
Hold on. Let me puff up a little bit here. A little bit of Eagle pride here, obviously, as a Grandview alum. What can you say about the Cat? I mean, a lot of, big shoes to fill after her sister had graduated, obviously, Annabelle Wakeland. But then to not only step out of the shadows and kind of fill those shoes and then kind of set her own path. And night in, night out, all the schools are game planning for Cat, and she still went out there and she still produced. I mean, obviously the record was what it was, but, I mean, just a leader on the court.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. What I got to see of Wakeland, just that kind of dog mentality within her, taking on, the best defenders night in, night out, and to your point, putting up those points. Again, record overall-wise for the team, probably not what she wanted for her senior year, but this young lady went out with a bang, and I hope we get to see her continue to play basketball, because this is a young lady I think can go places if she continues to kind of grind and do her thing.
Absolutely. Continuing on with our next standout here, Jillian Jarvis, the senior from Herculaneum. Jeffrey?
Jillian Jarvis voted to the first team in her senior year here. She was a second-team all-conference pick. She led the Black Cats in scoring. She led the Black Cats in three-point scoring and assists and steals. and this is her second selection to the Main Street Sports team. And Jillian, a very interesting athlete in selection here, a great performer with a very big heart, and she had to navigate a very difficult and challenging season for her, and for a lot of different reasons, and she was able to fight through that. I don't know where her team would be without her and Abby Smith in the middle there, but she did everything she could for this Black Cat team who was struggling, and she could have put up some very gaudy numbers if she was on a much better team, guys.
Yeah, I was able to see one girls game this year. It was when both the varsity girls and boys for Herculaneum and Jefferson R7 played together in the Hoops for Hope night that they throw on every season, which was an awesome experience, being able to be a part of that for the first time. So seeing Jillian Jarvis in that game, like you said, just being the leader on that team and being able to kind of rally the troops there for a subpar season, like you said, Jeff, but really going back to Catherine with what you said, Scott, being able to be the leader and everyone's game planning for you, but you still go out and you get the numbers every single night. It's very impressive to see.
Jillian Jarvis, obviously, Coach Jarvis, kind of near and dear to this group a little bit, but just to see her arc, just, watching her go as an underclassman and kind of ascend, and just, her energy and always seeing, like you said, it's been a tough season, no doubt about it, but, you would never be able to tell by her on the court because, she'd be smiling, fist bumping somebody. I mean, she could be, in a tight-knit game, or she could be down 30. You have no idea. She just goes out there, she does it, and she does it for her teammates as long as, she just wants to go out and perform.
Yeah, true leader, in my opinion, is Jillian Jarvis. I mean, you said it, Scott. There were many a nights I would show up there, and she's laughing and joking with her teammates, big smile, given the whole situation and the downturn in the season for them of kind of what took place. But even more than that, what I saw was even as the boys were playing, she was always in the student section. She's always just cheering people on, even from the bench when she had to take a rest or whatever. She was always in it for her teammates. And again, for me, she may be walking away as this is her senior year, but a lot of skin is left on that floor because she was going all out. She didn't care. So she's left something there, whether she wanted to or not. She really did. And I think it'll go a long way because her name's going to be remembered for the girls basketball program there at Herculaneum.
Absolutely. Jumping over to our next standout, Megan Wood, the senior from the Jefferson Blue Jays. Jeffrey.
Megan Wood, a second-team all-conference selection, all-district selection. She was a metro area leader in steals with over 3 a game, an area leader in rebounds. She is the all-time Blue Jay record holder for rebounds in a career. This is Megan's third consecutive selection to the Main Street Sports Standout team, and Megan was a unanimous selection to that team. Boy, I've got notes on Megan. I've known her for a long time. What I really want to say, what comes to mind is dog with a WG. Megan, if you get a chance to watch this, listen to these words carefully because I mean this in a very positive way. On the court, you were mean, you were nasty, you gave no quarter. You were one of the fiercest competitors that I have ever seen in any sport on any level. And I, man or woman, it doesn't matter. And I know that you take that to heart. You take a lot of pride in that as well. And you're going to do all kinds of great things with your volleyball scholarship to Tennessee there. But to not even have this be your number one sport, but to put the effort and work that you put into it, as in basketball, that in itself is worthy of respect.
How am I supposed to follow that? I mean, it's definitely awesome. You think just looking at numbers, physical presence is what instantly comes to mind. I mean, she had 34 more rebounds this year than she did points in total, 195 to 161. And being the all-time leader, is it just for girls or is it for boys and girls?
Just for girls.
Just for girls. I mean, regardless, that's still incredible. I mean, yeah, it's not even her first sport. She's going to play college volleyball. Like, absolutely unreal season. Way to go out with a huge bag there, Megan. And yeah, everything that Jeff said. Yeah.
Talk about having to follow. Come on. Like, what's left here? But, I mean, we got to follow the Blue Jays quite a bit over the last couple of seasons. And she wouldn't necessarily jump off the page, from a scoring or, an offensive thing. But you talk about, the steals and you talk about the rebounds. I mean, you talked about being mean. I wasn't going to go mean. I was just going to say she was very gritty. And she was definitely one of those ones at the end of the game, there was not any excess energy left because she put it all out on the court.
Yeah, I mean, ditto, like 3 times, right, on all of that. But I think what impressed me, too, is knowing her role. She knew she wasn't necessarily going to be the one that stood out on the score sheet, but she didn't let that hinder her. And to me, that just is quality character building. And what she may not know, I hope people around her have told her this in a lot of ways, the work ethic that she has and what she's done, even on the basketball level. Like these guys said, a second sport really to what your primary is. Just keep doing that. I know you do it at volleyball, but in anything you do, you continue to do that, and you're going to rise to the top, and you're going to be a gatherer of people that just get other people committed to your cause because of that.
Good stuff there, Cap, there. Our next standout, and this is the final group of first-teamers here, is Bree Rubel, the junior from St. Vincent.
Bree Rubel, first team all-conference, all-district player of the year, among the metro area leaders in assists, among the metro area leaders in steals. She led the Indians in scoring. She helped lead her team to a conference championship in small school JCAA. Also helped lead her team to a state final appearance this year, so congratulations to the Lady Indians. This is her first selection to the Main Street Sports Standout Team. And guys, she, along with her sister, Kate, came over from the Cape Notre Dame program this year and made an immediate impact on the St. Vincent Indians. I knew the moment I saw this team play this year that they were special and they were going to go someplace. Well coached. Mel Kern did a great job with them this year, and Bree was the quarterback of everything in that offense. And it was just a pleasure to watch them play, to watch them pass the ball, to watch them communicate on defense. They were well coached, they were well disciplined, and Bree was that extension of the coach on the court.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to add, really. I don't have any, I wasn't able to find any stats, or, I didn't see him with my own eyes this season. But, I mean, just on the slide right there, being able to make it to the state finals, that's nothing to, shy away from either. So fantastic season, both personally and for the team. It was a great job.
Jeff, was she twins? Was her sister a twin?
Yes.
Okay. Because I went back and listened to the interview for Coach Kern that we did for Fast Break, and he had nothing but glowing things to say about her and, the impact that she had on the program and, the program as a whole. So I think it would, obviously, you tip your cap. They had a wonderful season. I mean, ask any coach in this area, they would definitely take that ride this year.
Oh, no doubt in that. And for me, I don't know what's ahead for her future. Obviously, we get one more year to see her play, but she screams coach to me. I mean, I want her to play her career out as a player as well, but you talked about it, Jeff, just the way that she commands the attention of her teammates, the basketball IQ that is already present for her in leading that team just speaks to me as someone that can help others be the best in themselves and bring that out of them. And so it's going to be fun to watch, at least for one more year.
And she would also look good in red and navy.
There you go. Excellent.
Just saying.
Well, that's the first team. We're about ready to jump in here to the second team here. And our first candidate here is Maya Hankins, the junior from Crystal City.
Maya Hankins, another gritty performer. And I think of Maya, we'll talk about it in a second, but she was all-conference honorable mention. She made the all-district team for sure. Among the metro area leaders in rebounding with over 10 per game. She led the Hornets, obviously, in rebounding, and this was her first selection to the team, the Standouts team this year, and a player a lot like Megan Wood as far as the grittiness, as far as knowing her role on the court, and nobody was gonna outwork her.
It's nice to have a little 1-2 punch there when you have Bova with getting 15 a night on the score sheet, and then Maya with 10-plus rebounds every single night. That's something that the Hornets can definitely build on. She's going to be a senior next year, and Bova's going to be a sophomore, so they get 1 or 2 more ladies to step up in some other roles right there. The Hornets might be dangerous next year, fellas. Just saying.
And we did an interview with the coach for Crystal City, and obviously she talked about, it was a very rough year last year, and moving into this, and the players that came into this year, she had to kind of work with them and be like, okay, last year's over. And I think Hankins probably was very critical in helping turn that culture and that kind of mindset around as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, work ethic. I mean, this is a young lady. If I had my pick, she would be anchoring the post for me. I mean, what she's able to do and the way that she's able to use her body down low on the basketball court to seal out opponents and make sure that she gathers the ball. When I saw her play, very seldomly did I see a ball deflect off her. It's almost like that sticky fingers mentality, like a ball hit her and it was hers. Nobody was taking it away. Nobody else was getting it. And so that was just, fun to watch. And again, it just speaks to, you can't have all scorers on a team, because then it just doesn't work. You need somebody that's going to go down, and some people might not like this comparison, but like the Dennis Rodman of the team, not in attitude by any stretch, but play on the court. That's what she did for this Crystal City Hornets team, and I think, if she can do that one more year, Drake, your prediction may not be too far off.
Absolutely. Our next standout, Helena Lloyd, the junior from the Jefferson Blue Jays. Jeffrey.
Helena Lloyd, first team all-conference, all-district, among the metro area leaders in scoring, over 16 points a game. 1,000-point career scorer as a junior. She is the Blue Jays' all-time leading scorer now. She led the Blue Jays in scoring, and this is as a junior. She's got one more year, guys. Right. Led the Blue Jays in scoring and free throw percentage, and this is Helena's 3rd consecutive selection to the Main Street Sports Standouts team. And this will tell you a little bit about the competition that we had this year in the small school girls, the fact that you've got a 1,000-point scorer and a perennial standout here going from on the first team to the second team. That shows you how strong this field of players we have here, guys.
You could probably put the first team and then have Helena Lloyd as the 6th lady on this team and put them up against any group of high school girls in the country. Just like you said, the numbers that we've seen on that slide right there, you would think she'd be on the first team. I can only imagine she's going to next year with ease. The main thing that I'm excited for is to see how many points she puts up next year, because she's already got the record. Let's see how far she can push that envelope.
That's true.
So obviously Jefferson doesn't have that long a storied high school, resume, but to be the all-time leading scorer in your junior year,
right,
and then you got another year to kind of, even pad that even further. And she's just fun to watch. She's a great teammate. You can always see her out there kind of thinking, and, she's working problems out, and she's kind of almost like that second coach on the court, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah, for me, I was a little surprised when I saw her on the second team as well. Not to disrespect any of the ladies above, I think, Jeff, to your point, just a tremendous class of ladies that we have here, both on first and second team. But again, a junior, and she's got this type of output. I mean, she's going to be a 20-point, maybe 20-point plus scorer next year. And as dangerous as Jefferson was this year, they're going to be just as dangerous. And I think this little small Jefferson County small standing, it's going to be a fun one to watch next year with all of these teams in there, because they're going to be able to play some very difficult games early on against one another to set themselves up for deep runs into the playoffs.
Absolutely. Jumping over here to another second teamer here, Peyton Guffey, the junior from Jefferson.
Peyton Guffey, second team all-conference, all-district, among the metro area leaders in assists. She led the Blue Jays in assists, led the Blue Jays in three-point shooting, 25.5%. She was second in scoring on the Blue Jays behind Helena Lloyd, second in the Blue Jays in steals. And this is Peyton's second selection to the Main Street Sports team. And Peyton Guffey, we talk about biases a little bit. I love watching her play, and not only that, I love getting to know her a little bit. I just really like her personality. She is another one of these fierce competitors that Coach Holdinghausen had this year. That maybe basketball wasn't their number one support, maybe two. She's a fabulous libero in volleyball. But she was scrappiness. You watch games or call games, guys, and she was always the first person diving on the floor after a ball,
right?
Coming up behind somebody, getting the key steal, making a key three, and she all did it with a smile on her face for the most of the part.
Yeah, when you need someone to be kind of that third in the pecking order of your basketball team, look no further than Guffey. I mean, 10 points a game, 5.5 rebounds a game, 3 1/3 assists per game, over 2.5 steals per game, a little bit of grit, a little bit of the shooter's touch from behind the arc. Like, you doesn't matter what you need from her, she's going to go out and do it. And like you said, she's going to enjoy the heck out of it too.
Peyton, they said there's different aspects of her that you can look at. I mean, she's a well-rounded player, but I kind of look at her court vision. I think that's kind of a little bit overlooked. I mean, the assist stats kind of jump out at you, but that kind of leads me to be like, she's seeing the whole court, and that just makes your team better.
Yeah, smart basketball player. Very quickly became my favorite lady of the year. Not to mention the couple games that I got to call that she was at. She was the player of the game. So that bubbly personality, that great, just electric personality that's in her comes out when you talk to her. And I can only imagine how it rubs off on the team as well. And so just a lot of fun to be around Peyton Guffey.
Absolutely. Moving over to another second teamer here, Abby Smith, the senior from Herculaneum.
Abby Smith was an all-conference honorable mention player this year. She was among the metro area leaders in rebounds, among the metro area leaders in block shots. She obviously led the Black Cats in rebounding and block shots, led the Black Cats in free throw percentage as well. And this is Abby's first selection in her senior year here to the Main Street Sports Standout team. And I think I coined the phrase for Abby during one of our games. With her wingspan, she was like a condor out there. She could cover
Yes.
the lane and be a very intimidating, imposing figure with her size and her reach in the middle. And at least some of the games that we were at, we saw her dominate at times underneath. And here again on a team that wasn't very successful. And Abby is somebody, and I'm sure she'd be the first person to admit that, kind of got off to a slow start but got better each game as the season went on, and she was in really good form at the end of the year.
You could very easily compare her to a Megan Wood type, where she, like you said, just an absolute beast in the paint, can just snatch a basketball on command whenever she wanted to. And kind of similar with Maya Hankins for Crystal City, just that second, role player in a sense, but also still putting up a lot of numbers and making a difference.
She was kind of like the jelly to Jillian Jarvis's peanut butter, kind of like their peas and carrots, their shake and bake. She was just a very nice compliment to Jillian Jarvis. I mean, obviously, Jillian, could kind of penetrate and she could kind of work around the perimeter. But down there in the blocks, Abby was doing her work. I mean, she would get that, keep the plays alive with getting a rebound, get positioned. She was a very good defender and, obviously a very solid teammate as well.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it all. For me, this is a young lady I would start a team with as well. Just the effort and energy that goes in. And like you said, Jeff, that wingspan, was a mess. I was glad in that interview that you got to see the picture of moments ago. She was sitting down and not standing with me because I would have looked really, really tiny.
There you go. Our final second teamer here is Kate Rubel, the junior from St. Vincent.
Bree and Kate, the yin and the yang on a lot of that, along with Allie Patrick, that really was the machine that drove St. Vincent this season. She was second team all-conference and all-district selection as well, among the metro area leaders in assists, but she also led the Indians in rebounding. Second on the team in scoring behind her sister. She helped lead her team to a conference championship and a state final appearance. And this is Kate's first appearance being on this team as a junior. Obviously, we don't cover Cape Notre Dame, not in the JCAA, so Bree and Kate's first year here on our Main Street Sports Standout team, and just a tremendous player who would also look good in red and navy.
Very similar to her sister, who we covered just a minute ago. Wasn't able to find any stats and wasn't able to get any eyes on any games that they have played. But again, a state championship run, especially with your sister, I mean, they're going to remember that forever, right? That's just awesome memories.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't get to cover them very much, them being down south a little bit, but Coach Kern, like I said, if you go back and listen to that interview, he talks about both the Rubles and, how they basically, kind of put their stamp on this team, and they just kind of made the whole team a team, if that makes any sense. But, hopefully we get to see a little, in the future of St. Vincent's, so.
Yeah, again, same thing there. I'm excited to see one more year. Like Jeff, you said, we weren't able to see them when they were down at Cape, and so having them in this program here, not only what they were able to do with the deep run this year, but again, I think it raises the talent across the conference as well, because you play up to your competition. And so when you have two young ladies, and then especially Kate coming in here and what she's able to do, as you said, the yin and the yang, that opposite being able to work. I think we kind of have seen it to a small degree when you talk about Hillsborough with the Hilton sisters.
Right.
But what they're doing is special.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is our final look here at both first team and second team here. Catherine Wakeland, Addison Bova, Jillian Jarvis, Megan Wood, Bree Rubel, Maya Hankins on the second team, Abby Smith, Elena Lloyd, Peyton Guffey, and Kate Rubel. We'll be back with the small school boys.
Hi, this is Bill Rubel with APB Storage. APB Storage is a locally owned and operated family business that offers the best storage solutions in the Jefferson County area. Our electronic gate gives you 24-hour access to your storage unit, and our state-of-the-art security system provides peace of mind and security. All of the units provide an easy access drive-up doors to allow a stress-free way to your unit. Come see why people prefer the APB storage experience. Give us a call at 636-464-5629 or visit us online at apbstorage.com.
Church is more than just an hour in a pew every Sunday. It's a community. It's where you can come as you are. It's a place where you can connect with God, learn from Scripture, and grow as you build relationships. It's a place where it's okay to be a work in progress. At Faith Community, you'll find an authentic group of people who are pursuing God and supporting one another along the way as we move from where we are to where God wants us to be. Wherever you're at on your journey, you are welcome here.
And welcome back here. It's time now for the JCAA Small School Boys First Team Standouts. We are going to start things off with Nolan Eisenbeis, a senior over at the wonderful place called Crystal City, the Crystal City Hornets there, Jeff.
Another Eisenbeis over the years finds their way to the Main Street Sports Standout. That's no surprise. First team all-conference for Nolan, all-district. It was among the metro area leaders in scoring and free throw percentage, also among the area leaders in assists and rebounds. Led the Hornets in three-point scoring, free throw percentage, steals, and assists. He did everything for this Crystal City team. It's his first selection to the Main Street Sports team, and Nolan was a unanimous selection to the team. And guys, multi-sport athlete, best sport is baseball. He'll be going to Jefferson College next year to play in red and navy, by the way. But Nolan approaches all three sports like a football player, I believe. As a quarterback for the team, he has that mentality. Fearless on the court. He's not the most talented basketball player in this conference, but he certainly is someone who just by the sheer force of his will can make things happen for this team, and was a huge contributor all the way around.
Yeah, I got to see them play against Herculaneum there. You saw in that picture, that's the Herculaneum gym right there. And the one word that I would put to Nolan there is fighter, because when we're watching that game, Crystal City got down pretty early, and it was a pretty sizable lead. And I believe he got 2 fouls like halfway through the first quarter. So he was in foul trouble early, kind of sat down, took a quick breath, and then just willed his team to a victory by the end of the night. Just an absolute fighter. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. We don't have to go over those again. He's just a great basketball player. And if he's an even better baseball player, I can't wait to see him on the diamond in the red and navy.
I mean, if you like statistics, and a lot of people who follow sports do, I mean, this kid, he puts something in every category. It's, it doesn't matter if it's offense, defense, or what have you. And you talked about, well, maybe he's not the best specimen, but he's an athlete who gets the most out of what he has. And a lot of that's just an intangible. And, I mean, there's so many athletes out there that would kill for that.
100%. The only word that really keeps coming to mind for me is just all around. I mean, his game is well-rounded. Again, not fine-tuned by any stretch. If he could figure that out, I have no doubt he could play at the next level at the basketball as well. I know that's not his goal, but what he does on the basketball court, you said, it's really just leadership, and he knows when his team's down, he becomes the fighter and just says, you know what, if I need to score, I'm going to score. If I need to rebound, I'm going to It doesn't matter. He just says, if there's a need, I'm going to fill it.
Absolutely. Our next first teamer. Here's a surprise here. Cooper Frisk from the Jefferson Blue Jays.
Look at that guy.
Cooper Frisk, photo bombing there, a great shot of Scott Latta. Second team all-conference, all-district, led the Blue Jays in assists with over 3 a game, led the Blue Jays in steal with over 2 a game. He's second on the Blue Jays in free throw percentage. He helped lead the Blue Jays to a conference and district championship and a historic Elite Eight for the Jefferson men's basketball team. This is Cooper's first selection to the Main Street Sports Standout team.
Another dog, honestly. I mean, just a great basketball player, kind of similar to Nolan Eisenbeis. Just he's got that fight. Whatever you need from him, he's going to produce it. And again, just a fun basketball player to watch because like we said about a few people already, there's nothing left on the basketball court whenever they leave it at the end of the night.
I was kind of expecting Jeff to have like this laundry list of things, talking about Cooper Frisk. But me personally, I got to see him call quite a few of his games over at Jefferson as quarterback, and just the innate talent that this young man has. And on the court, obviously, they started off kind of slow, but Cooper, along with Colton Broadwater, were able to elevate this team beyond what I think anybody's expectations were. And he's just a relatable, very hardworking young man and just fun to watch.
Yeah, I would say that. Fun to watch. But the one thing that stood out to me is he always continues to get stronger. He would start, like even this season, kind of started a little bit slow but finishes really, really hardcore. And so, you see that in every game. Like you said, Drake, he just leaves it on the floor. It doesn't matter how he starts. He can go 0 for 6. He knows his talent. He goes after it. And then by the end of the game, you look up and he's 20-plus points.
And, guys, I think Cooper would be the first to admit that he got off to a pretty slow start. He was a little dinged up after football season this year.
Right.
It took him a while. Last year, he was playing with 3 other guys on the court. Jefferson graduated a whole lot of seniors last year, 12 seniors. So now he's got a whole different team trying to find his way. And each guy, it wasn't just Cooper that got to a slow start. The whole team kind of got to a slow start because they're all trying to figure out what their roles are. And that was the same for Cooper as well. He was driving the bus on this team, basically. He was
going from guardrail to guardrail.
Right. But he would tell you that he got off to a slow start. But the thing about Cooper, and going back to the athletes, and there's several others on the list like it, in big games, in big situations, these are the guys that rise to the occasion. These are the guys and gals that want the ball in their hands. And Cooper's one of those guys, and he's just, like you said, he's just got that dog mentality.
Absolutely. You keep it right here with the Jefferson Blue Jays, and Colton Broadwater is our next first teamer.
Colton Broadwater, first team all-conference, all-district, led the Blue Jays in scoring. He led the Blue Jays in rebounds. He was second on the Blue Jays in block shots. And he helped lead the Blue Jays to the conference district championship, the Elite Eight appearances, and this is Colton's first selection to the Main Street Sports Standout team.
And again, with him being a sophomore, one thing that I'm very excited for him and the team going forward is with all the experience that they got this season. I mean, winning the conference, winning the district, going to the Elite Eight, with so many seniors leaving last year, but they got a whole new team, and they're all just going to be able to learn and grow with each other in the coming years. I mean, this team could be even better moving forward, and the Elite Eight is nothing to sniff at either. So very excited to see how he personally improves over the next 2 years and see where this Blue Jays team can go, because I think they can go even farther.
If Colton was an energy drink, he would be a monster.
Nice.
This kid, I mean, I think I really got the first look at him when they played DeSoto, and I think Cooper Frisk was out sick that game. And he was rebounding, he was shooting threes, he was driving to the basket, he was getting second chance rebounds. He was like everywhere. He was like that Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's like playing, every position. But I mean, this kid, just a sophomore, that's the scary thing for the rest of the conference. Just a sophomore, and if he gets stronger and, the chemistry he's got with Cooper Frisk, man, this team could really do some stuff next year.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, I'm even looking at, as a sophomore, is there a potential another growth spurt that's going to happen for this young man? Even if he hits the weight room a little bit, fills out a little bit more into his body, how much dominance he can have down on the paint for this Jefferson team and really become that staple to lead them. I mean, the ability to shoot outside or inside changes the game, because it's really, really hard for some high schools to find a defender to match that.
Exactly. And the thing about Colton, he's one of the, actually 5. They've got 5 of what we call the super softs this year for R7. 3 which were starters. One guy was the 6th man coming off the bench. Colton will tell you this too. He left a lot of points on the table too out there. Great footwork, great moves, the little baby hook he had working. As he gets older, he'll be able to finish a lot better. And then look out for this league. And then the last thing, when the guys were in the district finals after they'd beaten Valley Catholic and they were going to play Soldan, I told them if they beat Valley Catholic, if you would go back to that picture, Ray, if you would, of Colton there.
Sorry.
You'll see that he and Talon like to wear their hair short. So I told them if they beat Valley Catholic, I would do the same. So I just you get a shot there. So I I've got the Colton Broadwater. So
Perfect.
Is that what we're calling it now?
Big
I like
fan.
it.
Big fan.
I approve.
Perfect. You caught me going forward here, and we will go forward here with our next first teamer, Tanner Duncan, the junior from Herculaneum.
Well, Tanner's a good person to go forward with. First team all-conference among the metro area leaders in assists, among the metro area leaders in steals, and led the Black Cats in steals and assists. He led them in scoring. He was second on the team with rebounds. Tanner's second selection to the team, and a unanimous selection at that. And guys, as we move forward into some of the upper classes, we don't have any all-district listing because at the time of this show, they have not released all-district yet for Class 4 and higher. So that's why we don't have anything. Tanner's a shoe-in for our all-district. We just don't have that listed as well.
Yeah, I mean, this kid, whenever I first started covering basketball last season here at Livestream STL, I'm watching him, I'm like, man, this kid's only a sophomore? Like, this is awesome. We get to see 2 more years of him. And now I'm like, wow, he's only a junior. We get to see 1 more year of him. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Like you said, Jeff, he's a shoe-in for all district. Just an all-around great player. He knows when he can drive the lane. He knows when he has to maybe throw up a 3. He knows when he has to pass the ball and kind of create some movement. Just a smart player and a great player to have on your team. Very excited to see what he does his senior year.
He's only a junior? It feels like we've been talking about Tanner Duncan
That's
forever.
what I'm saying.
It's like Duncans and Eisenbeises.
Right. But, obviously, the season wasn't what the Black Cats would hope for this year. But every time you get to see this young man play, he is giving it his entire effort. And, kind of like some of the other, members we've talked about, every team, has it on their bullet points. Number 1 is Tanner Duncan. How do you defend him? How do you stop him? And he still goes out there. And if it's not his night shooting, he's finding, he's dishing. He's getting rebounds. He's doing all the little things. He's anticipating a steal, maybe so he'll get a transition bucket. But, very excited to see his senior year. Like I said, it feels like we've been watching him forever. But, Mama Dunk out there, I'm sure she's, major proud right now. But, love watching that young man play.
Yeah, you said it. Cut from a great family is Tanner Duncan, and he is living up to everything and more to that personality-wise. Again, can't speak to the fact that when you play for a team that struggles in which the way Herky played, watching him play, you would have never known that. he just goes out there and fights tooth and nail for everything through double teams, all of that as the focal point, and still just finds a way to will his team to even get the wins that they have. And it's going to be fun to watch. I always enjoy. That's one of the reasons why I always try and get down to Herculaneum to watch the basketball program, is this young man.
Absolutely.
And guys, just to add on to that, one thing I noticed with Tanner this season is a maturity level that obviously, as he's growing, like most young men his age, in maturing. But this year, in the past, the team would be in situations where he felt like he really had to put the team on his back, and maybe, like a lot of great athletes, try to do a little too much on the court. Whereas this year, as Scott mentioned, he was much better off just like, okay, I'm being double teamed. I'm not able to get off the screen or whatever, off the block. They're closing me down on the dribble. I'm going to pass the ball. I'm going to make a play. I'm going to do something else to help this team if I can't. If they're focusing so much on my scoring, and that was to me a hallmark of a mature player.
Absolutely. Our final first teamer for the boys here, small school boys, is Max Wheeler, the junior from St. Vincent.
Max Wheeler, first team all-conference, all-district. He was the all-conference player of the year as well. Among the metro area leaders in scoring with over 20 points per game. Among the leaders in rebounding with 9.2 per game. He led the Indians in scoring and rebounding. And this is Max's first selection to the Main Street Sports Standout team. And guys, I had the pleasure of watching Max play this year. I don't know if anyone else had that experience at all, so I can just speak to this one a little bit. Mm-hmm. Just a smooth, complete player. Watching him on the floor, very smart with the ball, a great leader at bringing up the ball up the court for Coach Valeroy, and just it almost looked like he was in slow motion. Sometimes those great athletes, it looks like they're moving at a different level, or just like everything just seems so easy to them that they're moving slowly somehow. But then all of a sudden you look up, bam, he's got 20 points. And that's what I can say about Max, just smooth in everything he did offensively and defensively.
Yeah, what you said. Anyone else?
See previous statement.
Ditto.
Love it. Yeah, not being able to see him live and in action really, is a disappointment. Just wasn't able to make some of those games that they had close enough, really, on my calendar. But just looking at the numbers and then highlights, I was able to see some of the highlights. So to speak to kind of what you were saying, Jeff, I mean, just the ease at which the game comes to him is impressive, and that just speaks to a lot of work behind the scenes. I know he puts in the effort to get better, and it's showing on the court. So keep working hard, young man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's time to take a look at the second team standouts here. Our first second teamer is Evan Wolf, the junior from Crystal City Hornets.
Evan Wolf, the junior, second team all-conference. He was among the metro area leaders in three-point scoring. He led the Hornets in three-point scoring and was second on the team behind Nolan Isabice in scoring. Second on, bad typo there on Jeff, bad, on the Hornets in rebounding and assists. And this is Evan's first selections to the team. Now, Evan, you will notice that we have a picture of you here. That is during baseball season, which we're looking forward to watching you and Nolan play very soon. And, of course, we had to get a picture of Coach Woody in there as well.
Absolutely.
But we couldn't find a good picture of Evan in the basketball season, just football and baseball. But we were able to find in this one but put Coach Woody in there too.
Well, it wouldn't be a live stream STL show without Coach Woody in it. Exactly. I mean, it's very impressive to me that he was able to find 15-plus points a game when you've got someone like Nolan Isabice with almost 20 a game. Just the nice little dish off for Nolan whenever he's putting the team on his back, but he needs some support. Evan Wolf was the guy all season long, just a great backup there. And we've said it for a couple of people before, just knowing the role and stepping up in those situations when they need to. Just a great season by him.
And, when you look at secondary scoring like this, obviously you have Eisenbeiss, but, this young man, obviously, having his prowess from beyond the arc, I mean, that just kind of opens up stuff. And then, kind of also helps his game too, because they're like, well, I know I have to defend him from 3, so then that kind of opens up some stuff, inside the arc for him as well.
Yeah, and I think he put himself in a great position this year to be that leader of the Hornets team moving forward with what he was able to do. And so don't be surprised if you see his name back on this list, maybe in a different category come next season.
Right. We talked a lot about these guys, and Scott can tell you a lot too. Eisenbeis and Wolf together in all 3 sports, whether it was football. In basketball, I use the analogy here that Wolf was the Pippen to Eisenbeis's Jordan. And but these 2 athletes in all 3 sports, they're in such in sync together. On the court, I could see Eisenbeis making passes to Wolf just like he did in the football season. And, that comes from playing together, knowing where each is going to be on the field or the court, wherever it is. So really looking forward to see what these guys can do during the baseball season this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Our next second teamer, Jackson LaPlante, the junior from Herculaneum.
Jackson LaPlante, second on the Black Cats in scoring behind Duncan. He was the outside guy, the bomber, 3 points scoring, second on the Black Cats in scoring and assist. And this is Jackson's first selection to the Main Street Sports Standout team.
Yeah, I went and looked at a bunch of stats. I might have the number a little bit off, but I think he only took 17 shots from inside the three-point arc this season. So definitely, like you said, Jeff, the three-point threat for the Black Cats. Being second in all of those categories behind Tanner Duncan is no small feat. Definitely not something to sniff at. He's a junior, so he's got one more year, too, with Duncan, another year for them to kind of mesh together. Just hoping that the Black Cats have a much better season next year, because if they do, it's going to be on the back of those 2 for sure.
Yeah, I think this young man was thrust into a more prominent role this year, because last year, obviously, he was an underclassman, and obviously they needed someone to kind of help Tanner a little bit. And from what I've seen, this kid, he gets in the gym a little bit more, puts on a few more pounds. I mean, he could definitely kind of take that next step, and he could maybe kind of become a dual threat. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have that from long range, but I definitely could see him becoming a lot more dynamic next year.
Yeah, because he was impressive when he put the ball on the floor, too. He just chose not to do that very often to get to the lane. And so I think, there's the sky's the limit for this young man. He can really do something special. I want to point out, too, you've got Luke Bryce on this team as well, who is a tremendous player. And the 3 of those guys, when you talk about LaPlante, Duncan, and then Bryce as well, they have a good opportunity to take what they learned this year. I mean, they took their lumps in some games, but they didn't let it affect them. And so it'll be nice to see if, again, he puts on a little bit of weight, hit the weight room. I'm not saying he's got to bulk up or anything like that, but to be able to have that inside-out game, kind of like what we talk about with Colton Broadwater, this boy can bring his level of basketball up, and who knows what could happen next year for the Black Cats.
Yes, sir.
Agree 100% there.
Absolutely. Moving on to our next candidate here, Blaine Wilson, the sophomore from the Jefferson Blue Jays.
Blaine, another one of the super softs for our sub and first team all-conference, all-district player, among the metro area leaders in free throw percentage, 75%. Led the Blue Jays in free throw percentage. He led the Blue Jays in three-point shooting with almost 40% from the field. Second on the Blue Jays in scoring. He helped lead them to the conference and district championships and the Elite Eight. And this is Blaine's first selection to the Main Street Sports Standout team. And I'll tell you a little bit more about him after you guys.
All right. Well, yeah, similar to Colton Broadwater, I mean, both being sophomores and Wilson being that three-point threat. You saw he almost shot 40% from beyond the arc. That's incredible. With Colton Broadwater's size, just 2 young men that still have 2 more years. And like I said when we were talking about Colton earlier, lots of experience, lots of knowledge of how to win in the postseason and how to act. I just can't wait to see what these guys can do in the future years, to see if they can make an even deeper run in the future.
I think the disservice to Wilson is he plays on a team with Cooper Frisk and Colton Broadwater. Because actually several of the games we did, I actually gave strong consideration to give him player of the game, but because Frisk and Broadwater did what they did, it kind of overshadowed him. But he handles the ball. He plays excellent defense. He shoots smart. He's an excellent passer. He does everything well. And again, just a sophomore. But this young man, very fun to watch and definitely melds that whole group together.
Yeah, I think about this group and I think about the Heat when LeBron, D-Wade, Bosch, those guys were there, and it was not one, not two. Unfortunately for these guys, it could probably only be three, right? But they have an opportunity because of this young man and Blaine Wilson to really just kind of tack on to, what Broadwater and Frisk do as well, at least for one more year. To me, again, at maybe a underclassman, if you will, the basketball IQ stands out to me so much because he always knows where his teammates are and he always finds the ball. And so for me, again, I'm maybe a little biased because I got to be at the games that Scott was talking about there, and to see what this young man can do even without the ball impresses me, and I think he has a bright future if he chooses to continue to play.
And Cap, you and Scott both hit on the points that I wanted to bring up too about Blaine. Great shooter, that's a given. Great free throws, in that situation. His ball handling skills as a sophomore, what he was able to do, not be afraid, not be intimidated by anybody, very sure with the ball. I think he's got the highest court IQ on the roster for R7. I really do. Mm-hmm. Even as a sophomore, he always looks to make the right play, the right pass, the right shot at the right time. And I think he's got a tremendous upside. And, the Blue Jays are going to be good for the next couple of years for sure.
Absolutely. Moving on with another second-teamer here, Brendan Martin, the junior from the Grandview Eagles.
Brendan Martin, all-conference honorable mention among the metro area leaders in assists with over 4.5 a game. Led the Eagles in assists. He was second on the Eagles in scoring, free throw percentage, and steals. And this is Brendan's first selection to the Main Street Sports Standout team.
Him and the next person we're going to be talking about, I can only assume, are a great 1-2 punch for each other for Grandview. And he was, I don't know if the quarterback's the right word, because I could also say the same thing for the next player for Grandview we're going to talk about. But those two work so well together. The one thing that I absolutely loved about Grandview this season was how smooth and how quick they could pass the ball to each other, and just how effortless they made it seem. I mean, we saw them against Herculaneum. It was like a pinball going around everywhere, and they were so smart with the ball and that they wouldn't turn it over. But it was all started between Brendan Martin. At the point guard position, he's just able to quarterback that offense so well. It was very fun to watch.
What school is he for again?
Here we go.
So a little bit of Eagle pride here, but this young man, didn't really get to see him play much, but kind of followed a little bit along with what he was able to do this year. Obviously, Grandview doesn't have maybe the high profile roster and athletes of some of the schools around, but he's just one of these kids where he's just going to go out. He puts in a workmanlike effort. He's going to do everything you ask of him. Some nights it's he's going to be with this next guy. He's going to have his moments, but just a great support guy, and just goes out there and works his tail off.
Yeah, and the word that came to mind for him is just poise. I mean, both sides of the ball. He knew where he was supposed to be. He did what he was supposed to do. And even when he found himself in small moments being out of position, he was able to recover so quick that he was just, like you said, Drake, that great compliment to his teammates, that he could save them on some plays or find them on the offensive side. I think sometimes, even in the games that I got to see, it was a surprise to his teammates that he knew they were there.
I think that you guys already touched on it. The thing that stood out for me when I watched Brendan Martin was quarterback. The poise of a quarterback, whether it was football or in basketball, and leading the team, he has that poise as a junior, and he exudes that. And I think it helps calm down the rest of the team. I think it puts everybody, it takes the tension out of a lot of situations for the team. And I was very impressed with that young man from that standpoint.
Absolutely. Moving on to our final second-teamer here, Clinton Pennick, the senior from the Grandview Eagles.
Clinton Pennick, second team all-conference. He led the Eagles in scoring. He led the Eagles in steals. He was second on the team in free throw percentage and assist. And this was Clinton's first selection to the Main Street Sports Standout team.
You can see in that picture there, I was able to be on the call for that game where he was the player of the game against Herculaneum. Kind of going back to that it was almost something I could compare as like a 1-2 in soccer between him and Martin. They would just pass the ball back and forth one or two times, and then the play was eventually going to be made. The difference between Martin and Pennock, though, was Martin was the great quarterback in pass. He had his eyes all over the court. He knew exactly where he wanted to go. But Pennock, he would just take it himself and drive to the basket, or he would do a step back from the elbow if he needed to. He was able to have that extra step in. You know what, if I got to take control of this possession, I'm going to. And that's why he was able to lead the team in scoring and do so well in other areas. And that I personally had him in my first team, and I think he deserved it because of all of those reasons. Just a great player, able to do a little bit of everything, and just so much fun to watch.
When you got to interview him, did he go by Clinton, did he go by Clint, or did he go by CP?
I think I addressed him as Clinton, but I don't know if he said his name at all.
All right. So
I like CP, though.
I do. I kind of like that. But this young man, obviously a senior, capped off his senior year. Night in and night out, when you're listed as the top scorer for your team, you know that you're going to get that extra heat. You're going to get that extra smoke from the other team. And, he relished it. He would okay, challenge accepted, give it to me. And, obviously, the record was what it was for the Eagles this year, but you just got to admire his, his drive and his focus. And like you said, give me the ball, I'm going to drive through somebody if I have to. I'm going to try and get this bucket for my team.
Yeah, a strong finisher, great overall basketball player. Again, I think you could put him up one-on-one with just about anybody on this list, and he's going to fight tooth and nail, if not come out on top in some of that, just because of the competitiveness that he had. And so it was fun to watch him, and even kind of being off to the side, not a part of the interview, but listening to him. A lot of energy, a lot of excitement. And so, again, hope good things for this young man. He's just fun to watch.
And I have to share a story with you about Clinton Pennock, guys. It goes back to when I was working the district games down at R7 this year, and Clinton's team, unfortunately, Grandview was about to get knocked out of the district playoffs, and they were down by quite a bit. About a minute left in the game, and someone was shooting free throws for Grandview, and Coach Moss pulled Clinton over to the sideline. He said, "Now, Clinton, you're one of our only seniors, so with about 10 seconds left, I'm going to call a timeout, and so you can come out of the game, and everyone can acknowledge you and applaud you as this is your last game as a senior." He said, "Or if you want to stay out there, that's fine too. I'll leave it up to you. It's your choice." And Clinton just looked at Coach Moss and said, "I want to go out with my boots on." So I have to really admire that about him. He didn't care about the accolades. He didn't care about the applause that the crowd was ready to give him.
Right.
He just wanted to go out with his teammates.
Excellent.
That's
excellent.
very awesome.
Yeah, very, very awesome. Our final look here is our small school boys here. First team, Nolan Eisenbice, Cooper Frisk, Colton Broadwater, Tanner Duncan, and Max Wheeler. Second team, Evan Wolf, Clinton Pennock, Brendan Martin, Blaine Wilson, and Jackson LaPlante. Time to take a look at a special segment here. We're going to call this the shout-out segment here, and we're going to turn it over here to Jeff. He's got the shout-out.
Guys, what we wanted to do this year, there's a couple players here in the county that would be live amongst a lot of the JCAA players that are not large schools. They would have been JCAA players in the past. And we do, even though we didn't get to see them play, I got to see them play a little bit, but even though you guys didn't get to see them play, I do want to give them a shout out, even though they're in the conference, not in the conference anymore. They are doing some really tremendous things on the court. So we wanted to kind of do a special shout out. We start off with St. Pius Jr. Brooke Blankenship. Brooke still maintained now as a junior. She's among the metro area leaders in rebounds, among the metro area leaders in block shots. She led the answers in scoring with almost 14 points a game and achieved that 1,000-point scoring milestone as a junior. So I fully expect to see Brooke playing at the next level somewhere, guys. The next one is a freshman on the list here, Harrison Ray. The freshman was a bright spot in a really difficult season for the Lancers. He led the team in scoring with almost 11 points per game, and also with outside shooting as well. In free throw percentage, he was the shooter for sure. He also led the team in steals and was second in assists. So did everything he could from the guard position. So keep his name on your watch list, folks. Even though they're not in the JCAA, keep your eyes and ears peeled for Mr. Harrison Ray.
Absolutely, and that is a look at the shout-outs here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment many of you, if not all, have been waiting for. It's time for us to announce our Main Street Sports Show JCAA's Standouts of the Year. And starting out, we'll go ladies first in the small schools MVP. We have from the Grandview Eagles senior, Catherine Wakeland.
Hey, MVP, 1,000 points, for Grandview, well done.
Next up on our list, we have our small school boys MVP, and from the Crystal City Hornets, the baseball player, the senior, Nolan Eisenbeis.
It's a Crystal City thing, I guess, ladies and gentlemen. A fantastic season, a tremendous athlete, a great leader for this basketball team. Very excited to see the upcoming baseball season, his senior year and forward in the red and navy. But well done to Nolan, an absolute great player in person, and very excited to see what you got in your future.
Well, those are our MVP choices. So the question now is, how do we do overall? This is our selections compared to the coaches voting for all conference. We voted for our standouts a couple weeks prior to the release of the all conference lists. Our selections were about 90% similar to the coaches' votes overall, so not bad. There were some surprises here and there, some selections, but this is how things broke down in 2025. There were 9 unanimous selections to the Main Street Sports Standout Team. That's down from 17 last year, so a lot more tougher competition this year to vote for. Breakdown by classes, 1 freshman was selected, 5 sophomores, 20 juniors on the list, and 14 seniors selected. Now, that as opposed to last year, 2024, we had 1 freshman, 7 sophomores, 10 juniors, and 22 seniors. So you see the little swing there as we had a lot of seniors graduate, and the junior class very, very strong this season. And the best part is we get to see them play more next year, guys. So my final thoughts, what a tremendous basketball season. I think this has been our most successful season ever, Ray, as far as covering games, as far as broadcasting, live stream, and certainly with the best crew we've ever had.
Agreed, and we can only just continue to go farther down the road and maybe add more games, and that comes with the growth process. So we're excited about it, and we appreciate everybody that's come out to the games, but also watch the games here. And shameless plug here, don't forget to check out the website, livestreamstl.tv, and our Roku TV app. You can be able to actually go back. Every single game that we've covered is on the website and the Roku channel. You can actually go up into the search bar and type in your team, and all those particular games will show up. So our shameless plug there. But we appreciate everybody being here to check out the show today for the Main Street Sports Standouts. And guys, thanks again for being a part and giving your input. We appreciate that. And it's been a long night already here, but we're having fun with it. We turned our pages to baseball and softball here, already kicking off here with the spring. But if you're interested in helping us with sponsorship and to continue to do this, we've had a lot of folks ask at the end of the season here, how can we get involved? Don't forget to give us a call here, 314-852-4398. If you see us around, say, hey, we'd love to have you, to interact with the community as well. So for Ray Halbrook, for Brian Kaplinger, for Scott Lotta, for Drake Beekman and Jeff Whitener, all of us here at Livestream STL, guys, wave to the camera. We're going to say so long. Thanks again for watching the Main Street Sports Standout Show. Thanks for watching today's broadcast. Any unauthorized use of this broadcast without the express written consent of Livestream STL is strictly